Hello, good morning everybody. This is NIO Life again. We have right now very early. I can't even see the clock. I think it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Give you guys a round shot. I'm at the harbor section of the Cologne's old city. This is all modern now. I do not recognize most of the stuff. When I left Germany, when I left Cologne 25 years ago, this is actually my first time coming back here since 25 years. None of this existed. The only thing existed was in my background, the chocolate museum. I used to work there as a part-timer for language translation between Chinese and German. Yeah, that's another day, another story. Yeah, give you guys a roundabout. Unlike in Australia, people don't wake up to the coffee scene here. There's no morning coffee scene. I find it quite sad. Yeah, if I'm in Australia, this place will be brimming with people starting at 6 a.m. and people will be drinking nice coffee, chatting to each other, go to the beach, exercise, and stuff like that. Alright, I think this is as good as any other background for the video. So today I'm making a video about the share price of NIO. So I'm an investor. I've always been an investor and I will always be an investor. My investment style is different than most people you ever meet on the internet. I do not diversify, and I don't really just say I don't diversify. I have a proven track record that I do not diversify. For example, you just have to go on YouTube, search for First Mil, 1STMIL. You'll find my old channel where I did almost 8 years long exclusive videos for Bitcoin Cash. And if you are into crypto and you have ever considered Bitcoin Cash as an investment opportunity, you would have already recognized me and my face and so on, because I was the #1 promoter for Bitcoin Cash worldwide. And I have made 700 videos. I still left 550 videos on YouTube for everybody to see the history. And I can show with a proven history that I'm very good at biting into a topic and don't let go. So before I invested in Bitcoin Cash, I was in casinos. I was 100% in casinos. I didn't diversify. I was into Macau casinos, Australian casinos, and so on and so forth. During crypto time, I was into Bitcoin Cash. You could say that I made a mistake, because at the same time, if I bought 8 years ago Bitcoin instead of Bitcoin Cash, I would probably be a billionaire by now. I'm not a billionaire yet, so I'm still working on that. Therefore, I'm still looking for the next opportunity to make a lot of money. And Bitcoin Cash, I will have no access to my own Bitcoin Cash until 2026. If you want to find out why, you can watch my old channel. I'm not here to plug that. Instead, I want to focus on electric cars and particularly NIO. So the next big investment for me is electrification of the global transportation network. It's not just about electric cars, it's about electric everything. We will have no choice having to transfer or transition the entirety of our global transportation network to full renewable energy. And the easiest one to transition to is battery-powered, short-distance electric cars. In 2035, more or less every country in the world will have banned gasoline and diesel cars. And by then, everybody will have to drive electric. Now the question is, what kind of electric cars will people drive in 2035? American, European, or Chinese? That's it. That's the only three choices. Or Japanese, let's say. Fourth choice, Japanese. Let's start with the Japanese part. I know the Japanese car companies very well. I had many different Japanese cars before, and I'm also partially Japanese myself, so I can say this out loud. The Japanese is far behind in electrification than any other country in the world, despite the fact that Nissan was the first company that came out with an electric car that's mass-produced, that is affordable. Nissan Leaf, of course, I'm talking about, but they didn't continue to develop the technology. And in Japan, if you go to Japan right now, very few people actually drive electric cars, despite the fact they have hundreds and thousands of subsidized charging stations. Nobody's using them. Yeah. Go there, you see people prefer to drive small gasoline cars, tiny K cars. And sooner or later, the Japanese have to adopt. What cars they're going to drive? Same cars as the rest of the world. Let's now come to Europe. Here in Germany, I've been here for a week. I can tell you the penetration of the electric cars here is far lower than I expected. And I understand now why, because charging infrastructure, there's just not enough good charging infrastructure. The one I keep driving to in Hilden, that is probably the best they have, and that is considered tiny by global standards. And now the Americans, I don't need to say more than just Trump and Tesla and Elon Musk and the famous greeting with the right hand. So Americans is out of the game, more or less. Nobody would trade with them. They made sure that nobody would trade with them. No one would buy American-made electric cars. They already don't buy them now today. They will not buy them in the future. We're left with Germans, the Europeans basically, and the Chinese. I have to say the Germans are very advanced in technology, particularly in drive units. But the problem is the number one component in an electric car is the battery supply. And the last large project they invested in Northvolt has gone bankrupt. Now, the only battery you can get in scale is from China. There are many different Chinese companies that make those batteries. CATL is the largest one. Then, of course, we have the BYD and so on and so forth. Basically, the entire supply chain worldwide for electrification, for personal transportation is all set up in China. And therefore, they have the most competitive products on the planet right now. And Chinese EVs are anywhere between 10 years to 15 years ahead of the rest of the world. It's just a fact. It's just a simple fact. And to find out if I'm right or wrong about this, I will personally travel to China next week. And then I will stay there for as long as it takes for me to understand the EV market there. But based on my personal experience as a user of electric cars in Australia for the last almost 10 years, I can confidently say that BYD is currently the leader in volume, but technology-wise, NIO is the leader. NIO is the Apple of smartphones. Apple does not have the biggest market share when it comes to absolute number of smartphones. Apple has something like 20% market share. The rest is Android, I think. I could be wrong. But Apple has the absolute dollar market share when it comes to revenues, recurring revenues and one-time revenues for smartphones. Why? Because high quality, great brand, and high quality user base. And the same thing happens out in the electric car industry. There will be people buying BYDs for 20,000 euros. There will be people buying even cheaper cars for 10,000 euros from China. Wuling, for example, that's another example. I haven't seen Wuling here. But there will always be people like myself and everyone else I meet in the showrooms who only buy certain category and up cars, the luxury cars. And in the luxury car category, NIO has 60% market share in China. The rest of the world, not so much. Here in Germany, they are not barely selling any cars. I think last time they sold 20 cars last month, something like that. Probably sold to themselves. I don't know. I could be wrong. But it doesn't matter. Whether 20 cars or 200 cars is not going to make a difference. Where they really sell is China. And now I just checked the information before I start this video. This last week, I think, NIO has almost sold as many cars in China as Tesla has sold, because Tesla is crashing and nobody buying Tesla cars from here onwards. I cannot imagine anyone with a good conscience will buy a Tesla. It's completely out of question for most people. So in the last week in China, they have sold almost as many cars as Tesla, and that says something about NIO's category and the market potential. But for me personally, NIO is an ecosystem. The biggest money NIO will make in the future is from the ecosystem. Once you get a customer into the ecosystem of NIO, you are not coming out. You really can't come out. And to demonstrate the situation, today I actually booked a test drive with Polestar. Polestar is another Chinese car company that is using a European brand to communicate quality, but in reality it's everything Chinese. Technology is Chinese, batteries Chinese, manufacturing is Chinese. It's Geely Group. Polestar is basically Geely Group's tech platform offspring. Geely, I really like Geely, by the way. Geely Group makes amazing cars, Zeekr, Geely, Polestar, Lynk & Co. and all these cars. Unfortunately, I have not seen most of the car yet personally, I need to go to China for that, but based on all my research and based on what I've seen in Thailand, where I'm right now based, my main base now is in Thailand, I've seen a lot of Chinese cars going around. And the future will be without trading with America, without the United States trading. Asians will trade, Europeans will trade, Canadians will trade, Mexicans will trade, South Americans will trade. The only people who will not be trading worldwide are the United States people. I feel bad for them, but you guys made the choice. That is the whole thing. Whole world without United States will not come standstill. Trust me, it will not. It will not. Okay? When the British Empire fell apart, the world still continued because power vacuum will create a new powerhouse. And in electric car space, the powerhouse is China. If you don't believe that, you should go there to take a look. And I'm not a Chinese. I was once upon a time had a Chinese citizenship very long time ago, but I have not been to China for 40 years. This time when I travel there, I will be the first time ever seeing China from a fresh perspective. I'm definitely excited, looking forward to it. Also to practice my Chinese. Quite a bit rusty, but it should come back to me quite easily. After all, this was the first language I learned in my life. So back to NIO. Where does NIO shares go from here? NIO has, I believe, started to turn corners. I wouldn't say it's because I make those videos. My video don't have enough audience yet, but I think I timed the video more or less perfectly. I think going down the road 2 years from now, you look back to this video, you're watching this video, you're going to see that I'm started my channel plugging NIO shares at the absolute rock bottom of the NIO share price. I believe the fair value of NIO share price today, right now, is anywhere between $15 to $20. But in the future, when the NIO start to grow its ecosystem and the licensing gets underway, this is basically a tech company with unlimited upside potential. Just imagine licensing fee from every car that's ever swapped a battery in the future will give a little bit of money to NIO forever, for eternity. And last but not least, I truly believe NIO will be acquired by the likes of either one of the largest car manufacturer, but they might not have the money for it. The most likely candidate for buying NIO is actually a tech company like Apple. Now, let me just make a bet here. Today, I'm gonna predict that within the next 5 years, Apple or the equivalent of an Apple will acquire NIO in a share and cash deal valued anywhere between $100 billion to $200 billion. This is my prediction. This sooner or later has to happen. The technology behind this platform is too valuable, is too good. Once you have used battery swapping, you really don't want to charge your car anymore. And I use car charging since 2016. Started with Teslas and so on. And 5 days of using NIO swapping station, I already can tell you I will never go back. I will never go back. Because the NIO can charge like every other car, but it also can swap. Every other car cannot swap. And in NIO, I don't need to worry about the battery degradation, which is the biggest problem of all electric cars. It degrades regardless you use the car or you don't use the car. So therefore, it's paramount important that your car can last long. The actual car lasts very long. And NIO cars are fantastic quality. Workmanship is amazing. It's not even comparable to a Tesla. It's insulting to both Tesla and NIO's reputation if you compare these two brands to each other. Tesla is famous for its problems, workmanship problems, and NIO is famous for its high quality everything. So not comparable. Yeah, just like you don't compare a Porsche with a Volkswagen, even though they are coming from the same original group. Nobody ever cross-shop a Volkswagen Golf with a Porsche 911, for example, even though there must be some kind of part sharing going on there. I don't know. Probably not. Okay, I'm rambling now. Okay, thanks a lot for watching this video. I just want to say where I see the NIO shares going forward in the next 2 to 5 years. Now you understand why, and from the rest of the world, they have to catch up. And once enough people in the finance industry, in the investment industry, in the community of speculators discover my channel, understand someone like me is starting to push the company like NIO's shares, which of course I'm not a financial advisor. If you watch this video and then start buying shares without any due diligence, you are the idiot, not me. So I'm not liable for any of your losses. However, very important, in 2025 the share price does not go up without people plugging it. As simple as that. This is the reality. So I'm just one more guy on the internet who's plugging NIO shares, like many other people have done so far. But I do it in a different style. I will not do it like everybody else. I have my style. You like it, you will subscribe. You don't like it, you can go to somebody else, watch their content. Alright, thanks a lot. Please do give me a subscribe if possible. Give me a like, and if you really don't like, give me a dislike. That's okay too, because the algorithm loves interaction. Or give me a comment. Thanks. Bye.